Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Engineering Drawing and Computer Graphics course. We are in Module 1 and Lecture 2 in Introduction to Engineering Drawing. To briefly recap, our course contents are Introduction to Engineering Drawing and conic sections, orthographic projections, sections, isometric projections, overview of computer graphics. In this part we will cover, and a design project. Our standard textbooks are Engineering Drawing by N.D. Bhatt and Engineering Graphics with AutoCAD. And when we are learning about computer graphics, we use Introduction to SolidWorks. In the first part, Introduction to Engineering Drawings. In the second lecture, we are covering drawing instruments and lettering used in our drawing course. The standard drawing instruments and accessories used are drawing sheets, a drawing board to cover drawing sheet, a drafter or a T-square, set squares and protractor. Occasionally we use compasses and dividers also. The essential part of drawing is pencils and eraser. Rarely we use French curves to connect points. Usually we go with freehand sketches, but required we go with French curves as well. To hold the paper, we require paper clips and pins, and to sharpen the pencil, sandpaper, sharpener or blades are required. In the drawing instruments and accessories, the essential component is using drawing sheet. So, here we can see a drawing sheet template having certain width and a length. Is a very long rectangular sheet drawing paper. The typical standards Bureau of Indian Standards recommends for any drawing, categorizing these drawing sheets into different formats like A0, which is having a length of 1189 millimeters and a width of 841 millimeters. Usually we keep a longer side in the horizontal direction and the vertical shorter side. There are other sheets are also available. A1 849 millimeters by 594 millimeters. So, if you are seeing there is a diagonal repetition we can see for these drawing sheets. A2 594 to 420, A3 420 to 297 and A4 297 to 210. So, we can see this repeated pattern. in the drawing sheets. Typically, drawing sheets contain the three-dimensional objects and their projections. So, if you are looking from frontal view, how that drawing really looks like, side views, how it looks like. From side, if we are looking at that object, that means perhaps in this direction, how the object really looks like, inclined projections, and also if there are any cut sections, by showing it like a hash with material portion. And also it might be having pins, joints and variety of cut sections, those things can also be represented. And each of these parts will be represented by certain kind of lettering. And we will see something like a ownership of that drawing sheet, contains names and whoever so made it and what are the objects, properties and so on so things. It contains many variables, diagrams and letters. Even for electrical engineering, electronics, if someone would like to manufacture a component, that component has to be represented clearly, the dimensions, the size, what are the intricate details, everything has to be represented. And to summarize, a drawing sheet is the one on which we draw these sketches, and usually we recommend BIS standards. In that, drawings and title always be there. To represent pictorially the A0 size A1, A2, A3, A4, we have represented a very long drawing sheet. Half of that gives you A1, in that half gives you A2, further A3 and A4. So, A4 is the sheet what we traditionally use it for writing answer scripts or perhaps printing our material. The standard page what we use is this A4. With respect to A4, A0 is way large. What is the best drawing sheet one should use? One has to use the smallest drawing sheet which can give complete clarity about the drawing and resolution. That is the best drawing sheet one has to use. If the object is small and a small number of elements are involved in that, is okay to use A2 sheet. If the object is very large and have many components, would like to give detailed expressions, details, then A0 is required. As I mentioned, drawing sheet involves a drawing space, few border lines and a title block. Longer side always be in horizontal direction, shorter side always be in the vertical direction. After the drawing sheet, the next one is to hold that drawing sheet we require a drawing board. Here we have shown different variety of drawing boards. The classical one is using a wooden structure. So, an inclined plane on which one will be going to fix a drawing sheet and a compartment to keep your reserves like pen, pencils and drawing equipment. So, these drawing boards can be made even with metallic surfaces and also plastics. The drawing board size is always be larger than this drawing sheet. For example, if we are using A0 sheet, then the drawing board size supposed to be larger than that, 1500 mm by 1000 mm width, thickness supposed to be 25 millimeters. If one is using A3 sheet, then the drawing board required is D3 size. Next to the drawing table, we require a drafter or a T-square for drawing lines. For example, here a mechanical drafter has been shown. This is the clamp through which you will fix the drafter to the drawing board. By screwing, unscrewing, one will be in a position to connect that clamp, and it has mechanical bars through which one will be in a position to achieve horizontal and vertical directions. So, by unscrewing this measuring scale can be rotated, and any inclined direction also it can be assembled. The objective of drafter is to draw a horizontal line in line with that drafting table or the drawing sheet. Using this drafter, one can draw complete vertical lines. Wherever you move this drafter, it always shows only horizontal and vertical directions. These drafters can be of different types also. The simple drafter, which we call mini drafter, is shown here. More sophisticated drafters are also there, and those are shown here. So, this slider goes front and back, so that these horizontal vertical lines can be drawn in that direction on the table. Earlier days, people used to go with T squares. So, it is in the form of T. So, once this block is aligned with the drawing table, then one can draw a horizontal line. Along with drafter, the other essential components are set squares. These usually come in 45 degrees and 60 degrees. Here the inclination angle is 45 degrees, and this one is also 45 degrees, and this one is 90 degrees. If one would like to draw an inclined line with mini drafter, one will keep this set square there and draw a line in that direction. The other set square comes with 30 degrees on this side and 60 degrees on this side. The remaining angle is 90 degrees. Some of the set squares consists of this kind of complicated curve patterns also. Usually these are acrylic plastics, so they are transparent, and one can note the scale and put the lines along these slots also. The other essential component is protractor, through which one can note the inclination angle made by that point. To draw parallel, perpendicular and inclined lines, we use this drafter along with set squares. The other drawing components are compasses and dividers. The standard geometrical box consists of this compass, through which one can draw circle by keeping this object at the middle and keeping a pencil through that slot. One can draw a perfect circle or an arc. The other one is divider. Using divider, one can track and transfer lengths. For example, there are 2 points instead of directly measuring what is that length, we would like to transfer the distance between that. So, we use divider. Once that is fixed, use another point at same location and transfer that length. For that purpose, we usually go with dividers. These compasses are of different quality and also strength. The sophisticated ones have nice metallic frames, so that the grip always be good, and this is the part where pencil lead can be inserted, and this is other style of compass, bow compass usually we call, through which a lead can be kept there. And this is a joining part of compass which one can insert, through which lead can be used, and here the pencil leads are shown. So, typical engineering compass dividers come in different formats. Based on the application, one uses this compass. Now, the key component for any drawing is pencil. Compared to the ordinary pencils, the engineering drawing sketch pencils consists of different grades. Usually 16 grades based on the hardness of that graphite lead we will use. For example, a 9H is very hardest kind of graphite one will having. 6H, 5H and 4H extremely hard. If it is 3H, very hard pencil, and if it is H, moderately hard. If it is a B type, moderately soft and black. 2B pencils are soft and black, 3B pencils are very soft and black, and 7B pencils softest of all. So, here on the left hand side we have shown different pencils like 6B, 5B, B, maybe 5H, 3H and 4H notations. Below that we have shown the color made by the pencil, the contrast made by that pencil. The recommended pencils for this course are these 4 grades. Grade of the pencil, where 3H, 2H, H and HB are mentioned, and purpose of the pencil to construct lines, perhaps dimension lines and center lines constructed using 2H. If it is object lines and lettering, it has to be done with H, and if it is something about dimensioning and boundary lines, one has to use HB pencil. Overall, B grade pencils contains more graphite. If we are looking at the table, B always contains more graphite and make a bolder and darker lines, and these lines are little smudgier than light pencil. Whereas, a H grade pencil, if we are using it, this contains more clay, lighter and finer lines can be drawn and less smudgy than dark pencil. Now, we will learn about French curves. For example, if I have 3 data points, one can draw an arbitrary freehand sketch like that, or perhaps use a French curve so that the point can be passing through that curve and connect it by a nice smooth line. For that purpose, we require these French curves, and these French curves are segments made from Euler spirals. Part of the Euler spiral will be taken and this French curve will be made and meant for drawing free form of curves. For example, a smooth curve passing through a number of non-collinear points. For example, this point, this point, this point, these are collinear points. However, these 3 points are non-collinear. To represent a curve, we use French curves. Usually, the longer ones are used for parabola. The shorter ones used for ellipse and the medium ones are used for hyperbolas, and also it contains different elliptic curves also. So, whenever a free form of curve is required, we use these French curves. Even for wood making and cutting, people use metallic French curves to get nice finish. The other drawing instruments and accessories are paper clips and pins. So, whenever we have a drawing board, to hold, this is the board, we will like to hold the drawing sheet on that drawing board. This is the paper. To hold it, we use this clip arrangement. To hold it tightly, we require these clips. Sometimes people use pins also. To sharpen the pencil, sometimes we require sandpaper, and also to make it bit wider kind of lines on this sandpaper, we usually rub this pencil. To have very sharp corners, we use this sharpener, and the recommended eraser is Staedtler, which always have this very smooth kind of erase. After these essential drawing instruments like board, sheet, pencils, sharpener, clips, compass, divider and set squares, the first objective is how to draw letters. In this section, we cover what are the lettering styles involved for drawing. Lettering is the style of writing alphabets and numerals. For example, we use capital letters A, B, C, D to Z kind of things, and 0, 1, 2, 3 to 9 kind of elements. Usually, it is recommended most freehand lettering, and thus also in a Gothic style. This style supposed to consist of a constant line, thickness either straight Gothic with vertical strokes perpendicular to the baseline or inclined Gothic. So, either we use straight vertical A or an inclined A. If this is inclined, it is supposed to be 75 degrees, and there will be a guidelines. In that guidelines, we draw any lettering. To regulate lettering height, commonly 3 millimeter guidelines will be used. So, your letters supposed to be lower than 3 millimeters. If it is something like lettering height capitals, we use 2.5 millimeters. If it is something like thickness of lines, we use 0.18 mm. To understand that, in the right hand side, we have this I letter, which is having a height of h and a width of d. So, here h is 2.5 millimeters and d is 0.18 millimeters. Similarly, if we are using lower case letters, then one has to use 2.5 millimeters or lower than that. Spacing between characters, for example, this character and that character, whatever the spacing, that has to be used 0.35 millimeters. If we are using 2.5 millimeters, 0.18 millimeters as the thickness, then the gap between letter to letter supposed to be 0.35 millimeters. And there are other varieties like minimum spacing of base characters and also minimum spacing between words are also mentioned. So, with that kind of lettering style, we can go ahead and draw sketches and represent them. The typical lettering style involves for writing it for title blocks, subtitles, headings, notes such as legends, schedules, material list. For example, if it is title block, we use 10 millimeters kind of letters. Title drawings, we use 6 millimeter kind of things. Any subtitles, we use 3 millimeters, and any tolerances and so on represented in terms of 2 millimeters. So, in today's class, we have covered drawing instruments and lettering of these drawings. In the next class, we will learn about layouts involved for drawing, what are the geometrical curves we can construct, how to represent dimensioning and tolerances. See you in the next class. Thank you very much.